Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, conscience that made us. Interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and that cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
Hey, this is Vincent Lane.
This is Steve. We're from the band Relation.
We're dropping a new EP very shortly called Revealed. Make sure you check it out on all the streaming platforms. And check us out here on Concert That Made Us.
Guys, you're very welcome back on the show. How's things?
Everything's good, man. So far, so good. Dealing with the cold this time of year, so trying to make the best of it, trying to stay warm, you know what I mean? Creative.
Yeah, I get you. It's been just about a year since we last spoke, and you were just after releasing the track FYI, I think, if my memory serves me right. Now, you have big news. You guys have a new EP called Revealed coming out. Give us all the details if you can.
It's it's a little bit of a 180 from what we were doing before. We just went through kind of like a more experimental phase where we try to do something in the realm of extended range instruments, more lower tunings. The music gets a little deeper, it's a little heavier. Um, it's literally just a culmination of just us trying to do something a little different. That's not something that we typically do. But so far we've been super happy with like the results, and we're excited for it.
Where did the idea to do something a bit different come from?
I think we just, trying to grow as artists. Again, I do think, relation being relation, we're still always going to, Steve and I are always still going to write hooks. We kind of like a lot of semblance of, you know, ideology in our music. So things kind of work as they do. But yeah, this is definitely a lot more progressive than
Yes.
what lies beneath.
Mm-hmm.
And we just as artists, we're able to kind of grow like that and challenge ourselves. And the audience response on some of the leaks have been really, really good. So we're happy people came along with us on this. You never quite know how the audience is gonna respond to you.
I also think it's like a piggybacking off of what you're saying. I feel like too is like we were at a point where we were just like entertaining kind of anything, in a way where I'll have like a rough draft of something or a piece of music that's not really necessarily intentional for the band, just like something on the side, and I would still show it to the guys, and they'll be like, "Well, let's do something with it." So we just kept entertaining stuff,
Yeah.
and then it just like, hey, we might as well just stick with it.
Yeah, exactly. And we opened the show with Hollow Majesty. What can you tell us about that track in particular?
Oh, geez.
That was an interesting one because again, so Steve and I were sitting there with that and not quite sure what to do with it because again, it's for us pretty proggy and heavy. And lyrically, we just had to find the tone and tenor, and we think we did, where the protagonist in the song really kind of matches what the song's trying to portray. And I don't know, what do you think of that one?
It's really weird because here's how that happened. I'll give you the breakdown for Hollow Majesty. Hollow Majesties started as a 30-second clip of just me playing a riff that I was doing for content. It wasn't even supposed to be a song. And it's so left field from what we did on What Lies Beneath. And we just vibe with it. And we just wrote to those 30 seconds. And then the song it's like it had this snowball effect. And then it started turning into like, oh, okay, we're doing this then. Like we're already committed.
Yeah, it was really cool because a lot of it was written on the spot. And as a lyricist myself, Steve will tell you too, I kind of like to go home and sit with it and walk around a room and try to figure out the perfect words here or there. But well, on this record, we've definitely done a lot of like on the spot writing, which is really challenging for me. But I talk about being able to grow. It's very cool and humbling and challenging and exhilarating and all in one emotion.
It's really funny because it was an on the spot situation. I remember clearly me playing the clip off the session, and we had our DAW open, and Vince carries a binder with like 2,000 plus pages in it.
Yeah.
And he'll sit in the chair and we'll listen to the music, and he's like shuffling all the papers with notes and stuff like it's like they're cards. And then he's like, I got something. And then he just goes in the mic and just does it. It was a weird situation, but it ended up working out. And the first 30 seconds, as soon as the instrumental hits after that guitar intro, that's what we wrote to in the beginning.
Yeah, that came out of that first session, exactly what you hear. I mean, no changes. Sometimes that works well. Sometimes we've got to revamp. But that one came out pretty seamlessly. I don't know how or why these things happen the way they do. But yeah, that one, once we got a roll going with it, it was pretty easy to go. And it just kind of seemed to go seamlessly.
The binder then, is that a binder full of, lyrics you've wrote and you're trying to shuffle through it, trying to find something that matches that song, or...
Yeah, kind of. I've been writing for most of my life, here or there, and interestingly enough, sometimes that particular piece was written. God must have been when I was, 16 or 17 years old when I first started that. So that's kind of really cool when that happens that way. I just happen to look through scroll, based on the as the song is playing, and I can kind of feel the tenor of it, and I see, all right, this works kind of in conjunction lyrically with the way the song is, and we try to say, okay, this is going to work here, and sometimes you get a home run like that, which we're happy about.
Yeah. Has it ever happened then that, that's happened, you've finished a song, then you're just scanning through it and you're like, oh man, I should have actually used these lyrics. This would suit it much better.
It's
Yeah,
happened.
that's happened.
It's
Yeah,
happened many, many times.
because
Yep.
again, what I do, the last thing I do is I'll take the song home and I'll make sure that lyrically it works. Because I'm a big proponent of making sure that things get tied up and the lines aren't wasted and that just something doesn't make sense. I'll come back, and Steve will tell you this invariably. I'll come back, we got to change this. This doesn't work. Even it could just be a tense thing. Like, it doesn't make sense here. I got to say this in this sentence as opposed to the way it's laying out, or this line's got to go. I got to change this. So yeah, I mean, that's what we call repainting at the end, maybe a little bit, just
Yeah.
just a little bit of fixing it up. But yeah, that happens for sure.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And when you complete a body of work such as this EP, in your head, how do you look back on it once it's complete?
Well, that's something interesting, that I've done. Was like, I like to, like, because when we get an idea of the tracks listing, right? We all get together, Matt, Steve, and I get it, and this is kind of what we feel like as the flow of the EP should be, and then I'll go home and show the guys do the same thing, and I'll listen to it like collectively and make sure that it sounds like a collective piece. In our minds, the production's got to sound a certain way, which does sound different than what lies beneath, because we're different artists, and the software is different, right?
Yes.
But it's got to be collective and cohesive, right? What you say?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's weird because the way I look back, even at what lies beneath, like when it comes to like looking back at a completed body of work, I feel like I don't always have the best answer for that, because I'll be 100% transparent. After I am done mixing every single song, mastering every single song, and everything's done, I hardly ever listen to our music. It's almost like it has to be like a situational thing, like, oh, wow, we really did that. I'll be in my car or something, or I'll be on Spotify and I'll see our name on Spotify as artists that are related or artists that you listen to. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't listened to any of these songs in like a year and a half, too. So, and I think it comes down to, because I spent so much time like with the arrangements and the production, that you're kind of almost desensitized. And you kind of have to like not listen to it to get excited about it again. The rest of the guys feel different. The guys enjoy listening to like what we do a lot, but I'm usually the one that listens to our music the least.
Yeah, but the most in the actual guts of it, though.
Yes.
You know, yeah. So that makes sense to me. I enjoy listening back on it, and I like to see comparatively where we are and where we're going. So that's kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
For the new stuff, which I guess we can talk a little bit about what we plan to do. I think we've decided to be maybe go back to more of a simpler plan, and that kind of what we were thinking. And what did we think about that?
Like I said, it's kind of like a 180 thing for us, something that it was like almost we didn't really think too much about it. There wasn't really a structure on, okay, how do we want this next EP to sound? There wasn't really a whole lot of thought involved with how it's going to sound. We just kind of went with what felt good at that moment, what sounded good at that time, and just committed. So, yeah, it's definitely a 180 in terms of the music.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And hypothetically, if you guys could sit down with yourselves from last year, say when you appeared on the show last year at the end of January, what would you say to yourselves?
The first thing I would say is don't overthink and just commit and let it go. That I say that just solely based off the way I work and the way, because I not only produce and record the music for our band, but I also work with other artists as an independent engineer. So it could be for me like it's easy to get kind of caught up in this like rabbit hole, or does this sound good enough? Like how many revisions do I have to do? You know what I mean? Before I feel happy with it. And what I would say to myself, I would say just don't even think about it. Commit to what you're doing and just let it go.
I agree with that. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. We've done this year. We were able to go and play shows with Hall of Fame individuals. So that was great. Glenn Hughes. We played with Yngwie Malmsteen. We've done some cool stuff. And I think the more I would say to us back then is trust the process, trust what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, trust in your work, and think good things are going to happen. You know, and that's kind of how we really feel about it.
Kind of just to put that affirmation out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Now, I was looking forward to getting to the Hall of Famers. You have to give us all the details on this. How did it come about? Who did you play with?
Well, we're represented by Pavement Entertainment, and they give some opportunities out. And we actually felt this was a good one for us. We played with Yngwie Malmsteen and Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple in Illinois over the summer, and it was a fantastic show. It was a great room.
Beautiful.
The Arcada Theater right outside Chicago is a fantastic venue. The support staff there is great. The response was incredible. The response from the teams and Yngwie and Glenn themselves were overwhelmingly, humbling. They were fantastic.
No, they were absolutely, and it really shows like the scale of professionalism behind when you are opening for tours like this, how attentive the team is, how accommodating they are. It's not like you're rinky-dink, like local hole-in-the-wall type of venue where you're arguing with the sound guy. No, they have everything 100% locked in. Like it was super seamless to set up. We had help. It was fantastic. So shout out to them.
Yeah, they were, and again, being able to play with artists on this level, the support from everybody, and was the camaraderie was really something that I don't know if I expected necessarily, but it definitely was there. These guys were, like I say, everybody that was involved in this was cordial and helpful, and again, the audience as well was just very, very accommodating and supportive.
When you're playing with guys on that level, then from a music point of view, what do you learn?
These guys, I mean, let's put it in the perspective too. Glenn Hughes is 70, and I mean the show he put on as a man at that age, and again, that's not old, but I mean, let's just say he's been doing this a while. It looked like it could have been a second show. The enthusiasm and just the engagement with the audience, the pacing of the show, I thought was something that was really cool.
Yeah, that was different too. It's just it teaches you how like important it is to be on time and be, what I mean, like super on point with this sort of thing, because they're on a schedule. So in past shows that we've played, yes, we usually are on a schedule, but it's usually a little more lenient because they're not as like fluent shows with set times like this. So, it's about being over prepared. You know what I mean? And it teaches you to always be prepared, always like have backups of anything. Yeah. We had an incident during our set, which is funny. We play to a click track. So we all have in-ear monitors, and we have a transmitter coming out of our interface from our laptop to our headphones with our receivers on. And what you essentially hear in front of house is like all the little extra embellishments in the song that we typically wouldn't be able to do live, like things like harmonies, backing vocals, maybe like some ambient guitar in the background. So we run a click track, and all we hear is that in our ears with a metronome. And I stopped saying what can possibly go wrong after that show. Okay, because what happened was, and it must have been interference from other equipment in the venue, but it's 7:00. We're on the side of the stage. We're about to go in. The first interlude off our set list, because it's all straight through 30 minutes nonstop. So the interlude plays. I hear a little bit of it on my headphones. We're good. And all of a sudden, I can't hear a damn thing. It just
man.
cuts off. My headphones caught off. They were off. Vince's, Matt's, all of us. We couldn't hear a thing. And I'm like, this is about to go south. Really, really bad. And then once we walk on stage, Matt like gives me like he waves at me. He's like, I can hear it. And I'm like, how? Because I don't hear anything. He's like, I don't know, but I can hear it. And I just like, in conversation while all of this is happening, just count us in. So we coasted through that whole set with no issues whatsoever, no hiccups, and we couldn't hear a damn thing. We just counted on Matt. He held that whole set together.
No question. Yeah, exactly. Out of any of us to actually have the in-ears work, and we realized after everybody had, so much interference with other things going on that's what happened to us. Our channels were just we had to go way up the channel line, but yeah, thankfully it was him, and he could keep us in time because, like we say, it's seamless. Everything works as one collective piece. So you could fall out, and it could be bad.
Yeah, no,
real bad.
The situation was so stressful. The anxiety was off the charts. Like we gave each other the biggest hug as soon as we ended that set. That's how let's oh my God, we did it.
Yeah, and it goes to show you just being like you had mentioned before, being overly prepared. We knew the stuff so cold. We know our stuff so cold that it didn't affect it, and it was the worst case scenario.
It really was.
We survived it, so that's another thing.
And that's why I won't ever say what can go wrong, because prior to that show, I was never worried about us. Like we had everything locked in. We've rehearsed hundreds of times the same set. My biggest fear was, what if something goes wrong technically? What if there's technical issues? And I always said that out loud, and I'm like, sure enough, as soon as we start, boop, everything just stops working.
No more of that.
Oh man, did you ever think of, we just won't use it in the future to avoid that situation because clearly we don't need it?
Well, we think of it this way, with regard to the backtrack, and this is a big thing now in the industry. It just really gives the whole show to the audience again, because we, Steve and I and Matt, we like to put layer the music as much as possible, and we really feel like taking that away would kind of not provide the full experience. So we don't mind doing that at all. It wouldn't say it's as freeing as playing without it, but there is a certain level of exhilaration with it, I would say.
Yeah, I think we could probably say, for example, the next EP after this one, we could probably make music that's a lot more suitable and simpler for a 3-piece, but we don't know how to do that. We just add all tons of shit. So we don't want to sound like that band that sounds so nice and so produced and big on the recording, and when you see them live, it's like a stripped down version of it. And we've learned to acclimate to the whole system if things go wrong, or we're just so used to it that we just prefer that people have the best representation of the album, or the songs. So yeah, we put ourselves through that.
And basically we don't want any other musicians with us. Right? We're very kind of cohesive, and we just kind of like to do what we do with ourselves, and other people and other personalities, and on some level I think that's probably part of it too, let's be honest.
Right. And I have to ask about Yngwie. I actually seen him for the first time myself back in, I think it was November, and I've had countless musicians on the show who have played with him, and 99% of them just say, let's move on to the next subject. So what was he actually like?
We felt he was cordial. I had a little interaction with him, and he was perfectly fine. We dealt more with his team, but we did get props directly from him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was very, very complimentary to what we were doing. So there's that. I can't say anything negative. I mean, I walked right by him in a hall, and we acknowledged each other, and just like you would with anybody else, I got nothing to say.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like there's a whole like rabbit hole of things that people say about interactions with him, like or you see it on videos on how he acts and stuff like that, and we didn't really experience any of that. Like we were treated pretty well.
Yeah, very well. And Glenn Hughes who is notoriously known as a sweetheart in the industry. Same thing. Like I said, his team was fantastic as well.
They were super nice. What did they say? They say, oh, the big boss likes what he hears or something like that.
Yeah, and like you guys are a powerhouse. They had a lot of great things to say. But yeah, my interaction with Yngwie was, and we've all read that. No,
we had a joke that what if we bring him donuts?
Yeah,
I don't eat donuts.
Yeah. So you hear all these things, but I'll tell you, I got nothing to say other than it was very cordial.
I will tell you this: an Yngwie show is a loud show.
Yeah, there's
a very loud show.
Yeah. I learned that myself. We were in a venue, I'd say it held maybe 200 people maximum, and it is the loudest show I've ever been to. I think I actually got permanent hearing loss from it.
Yeah. The wall of Marshalls is no joke.
Yeah.
It's there and present.
It's crazy because out of the three of us, I'm like the biggest fan because like I grew up, like I started playing guitar when I was 12, and I grew up just listening to him and watching him play in a lot of these like instructional videos. So I thought like he was like the guy. So, just like every kid learning to play guitar, that's who you want to sound like. I grew up wanting to be this guy. So just being there was kind of surreal because I'm used to seeing the wall of Marshalls, just not up close and in person, it's on the side of the stage, you see all the Fenders with the leopard print strap and all that stuff, and it's like, wow, I've seen this on DVDs, on live shows, G3 videos, and now like it's in like I see it in real life.
Yeah, and we're playing. It's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's an off the bat one for you guys. What is one thing you would change about being a musician?
What's the one thing I would change about being a musician?
That's a great one. Is it maybe? I think I would change people's perceptions of what we do. I think people have this kind of like romanticized idea of how. I think this is what I would change, honestly. People believe like there's not a lot of hard work that goes into what we do because they're like, oh, you're talented. You guys are just talented. Like it comes from God. Though there's a hell of a lot of hard work that goes into this and a lot of sweat equity. And I try to explain to people that it's more like building a house than you would think. It's not just like we magically come in here and just do our thing in 10 minutes and then we're gone. No, it's a process, and we come home, we go home with it. We struggle to make sure that everything works in the right way. Is this going to come off the right way? Does this sound like all the thought processes that go into really creating a product that represents you and that you're proud of? Mm-hmm. There's a lot involved in that. So I think people just need to understand that it's not just some sort of just God-given talent that you have, that there's a lot of hard work going into it.
I agree with that.
It's a good one, Art. And do you think you can become better musicians, or are you happy at the level you're at?
I'm happy.
I'm still a student of the game no matter what. Like, and the thing is, like, I don't really think there's like a cap to how much you can grow as a musician, as long as you stay current and you're learning and you're seeing how the music is changing. You know what I mean? Like a good example of this is Yngwie. Yngwie's been doing the same thing for 30 plus years. You know what I mean? For some people, they're okay doing what they do and they're good at what they do. Some people just want more, want to learn more, want to be inspired more, or influenced more, or whatever the case may be. But I'm always learning, whether it be me practicing on the guitar or watching a tutorial video or how to do this mix trick, how to do this. Like, I'm just constantly absorbing information. So, I feel like I'm always just going to keep doing that. I don't think I could just say, "Oh, I'm good where I'm at."
Yeah, there's so many brilliant people out there that I'm like, oh God, there's so much to know, so many different aspects to it. And I love great songwriters, and I like when people really put together a good product, and lyrically, it just, really works well with what they do. So I'm always looking to get better, probably for the rest of my life. I'm not even, no question about that.
Yeah, yeah. Here is one tough one now I just thought of. I'd love to see if you can answer it. We all know how you can, constantly become a better guitarist, better drummer. Practice, practice, practice. You can always go back, pick up the guitar, drums, and just keep working at it. How do you become a better songwriter once you're already at that level?
Wow, I think it's just challenging yourself, which is really interesting, Steve. What we did on this one, there were honestly Betrayal, the third song off this record. I didn't know how we were going to attack it melody wise. I remember sitting here in this room with you, going, I don't know if I got any ideas here.
Yeah.
Because again, sometimes that happens. So I just think we're just fans of so many different styles of music that growing and learning and challenging yourself is where it's at. Like, again, I mean, not everybody's going to do the AC/DC thing, right? We aren't in the vein of doing kind of replicating it. I think we sound like Relation now. I think that's kind of what we do. We don't really have like a style that we have to really subscribe to. We just can go around that, and we just kind of do us, right?
It's interesting because when we talk about being a better songwriter, that's completely different than playing your instrument as efficiently as possible. But the thing is, that's the balance that we have as a band. So from a songwriting perspective, on my end, it's really instrumentally based. Like, I know how long a part should be, where it should go next. I'm really good at arranging where we're going. Vince really carries the lyrical content because I can't write to save my life.
That's not true.
I'm just not. Let's just say Vince just has a better vocabulary, so he just comes up with really good words. So, as far as being better songwriters, we feed off of that because I could have an idea that's really, really good and it's concise and it makes sense, but Vince seeing it and hearing it by proxy makes him a better songwriter in the instrumental side because he's seeing it happen. Same thing when he's with his notes and in his lyrics. Like, I see the words he's saying and I'm like, oh, I don't even think you could use that word in this sentence. Like, okay, you know what I mean? So we've learned off of each other. So by proxy, we become better songwriters. I think it's just a whole different approach because being a better songwriter is recognizing where the music is going in this day and age, and seeing how it's changing. How does the music sound sonically? I go out of my way to listen to the top 50 on Spotify, and I hear all the artists, and I'm like, wow, this is really top 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not a ding towards like any of the top artists. It's just that like you see that, and you're okay. This is where music is going. You'll type top 50 metal bands, and you see all the styles of music, all the styles of metal that you could possibly hear. And I feel like just listening to those things and just educating yourself on what's going on in the world and how music is changing, and like, I think you just become a better songwriter because now you have like a more objective view on it.
Yeah, I like it. I like that answer. And before we dive into the last couple of questions, so future plans for 2024, lay it all out first. What can we expect?
Yeah, well, I do know we've got some. We're definitely going to go back out on the road. We've got some potential shows in New York City forthcoming in the next couple of months. Which all you got to do is just follow us on social media or go to our website, and we'll post those up. But definitely want to do some summer stuff. Like we did last year, some larger shows. That's kind of where we're at. We'll go back out on the road and do that. We're going to write more, not only for this project, but we have sync licensing opportunities. And what else? What else do you think?
Yeah, like it's pretty much it's interesting because we tend to just like put a lot of our record a lot of like snippets and ideas. When we do rehearsals, we record them with an iPhone. So we always have music to kind of polish up on. But now with this EP being like once it's like fully released, like it's just gonna be us going on the road with it and just running with these songs. Maybe include some of the ones from What Lies Beneath, and just take that to the road and see how the audience reacts. And then once we're done, it's just back to writing. It's just
that's the cycle.
We're
of
back.
life.
We're back at home base. So.
Right, right. Now, as you may remember, the last time I always finish up with a couple of fun music questions. Now, since you're on already, I've changed them up. So I'm intrigued to see your answers. If you could play a concert in any unusual place, where would it be?
Any unusual place? Okay.
So
I feel like it would have to be somewhere in Europe.
yeah,
It would have to be like,
Yeah, not gonna steal Pink Floyd, but damn, they playing in Pompeii may be the coolest thing that ever's happened.
or playing at freaking Stonehenge.
Yeah,
So, like, you know what I mean? It's like
who was that band?
I would like to play it somewhere that's like super monumental, like,
Yeah, I mean, either one of those work for me.
or just Yellowstone. Just have all those geysers go on in the
Yeah.
background. That whole super volcano erupts halfway through the set.
That would be it. That would be So something like that. Yeah, anything.
That would be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. First time I've asked that question, and I don't think I'm going to top that answer.
Stonehenge. I mean, God. I mean, what was that movie? What the fuck was
I'm
that?
trying to think of it since you said it.
Yeah. Oh God. Michael McKean. Oh God. It was. It's the why is it skipping? We'll think of it before the end of this.
Hopefully.
Yeah, they
hopefully.
played. It's great.
The next one. So, what album do you constantly go back to? What's your go-to?
Favorite album. Oof, okay, so I'm gonna approach this as like the favorite album that I was listening to during 2023. Lately I've been listening to Spirit Box, like religiously. And they've been like a top band for me for this whole year. And it's like it's kind of inspiring because they started out small and they just grew so huge like within the year. So just seeing like their success just and how they started makes you support them more. So I've been just bumping that for the most part. I would say Spirit Box. Their what was that? What was that last record? I can't remember it, but they just drop singles like every now and then. So like I've just been impressed by what they write lately.
For me, I was a grunge child, so Stone Temple Pilots, Purple, or Alice in Chains' Dirt would be the ones that I would definitely cycle back through. I can't handle Dirt too much though. That's some seriously depressing shit. But so you can kind of throw that in a little bit. You just don't want to get dragged down with Wayne Staley. But Purple for sure has kind of got that like Stones kind of thing. Like they really kind of pulled it all together, and that I kind of really dig the way that album feels. That really was like a pinnacle in my mind of that era.
Couldn't agree more. I think I have the answer to the band at Stonehenge was a Spinal Tap.
That's it.
Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap. That's it. Yeah, I can't believe that.
How did we not remember that?
Yeah, that's just. I mean, and yeah, I think they played on stage with like they were trying to play a replication of Stonehenge, but they got their measurements wrong, so it's like all super short and shit. Yeah, I think that's what happened. And I guess they're coming out with another Spinal Tap movie.
I was just going to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, this year, right? You heard that, right? Yeah. Wow. So that's super cool.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Christopher Guest, isn't he dead? Then he died. Am I wrong about that?
I don't know.
I don't know, actually.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
And the final one. So, if you could collaborate with any musician from history, who would it be and what kind of song would you create?
Oh, wow. That's a really good one. These questions seem like something that you could just think of, but when you think of everybody and every type of music that you enjoy, it's kind of overwhelming because you're trying to pick one over the other.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and you're trying to pick somebody that you might jibe with. I answered this question last time. Not this question, but a similar question to it. And I'm going to go back to Prince because, again, I just would love to see kind of an idea from a collaborative kind of like how, like just the direction he would kind of go with something like this. Because I know if you were to work with somebody like that, I think he'd take your catalog, listen to it, and go, okay, this is kind of what I think we could create together that would kind of, complement both of our styles. So I'm going to go with him.
I like it. I like it.
I would go, believe it or not, and it's not even like an artist or a band. I would go with Hans Zimmer.
Oh,
I would
Nice.
go with Hans Zimmer, and I would probably do some kind of like heavy metal orchestration thing.
that's cool.
Because he's like a huge inspiration. Like I've written like these little tidbits of like movie score, little soundtrack type of things, and I always listen to the music he makes. And like if I'm gonna get next to somebody,
He's still alive, right?
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, I can't, but you can actually make that happen. I'm good out of luck in that one.
definitely Hans Zimmer. He's 100% goated. He is, and his guitar player Guthrie Govan, he's amazing too. Probably one of the best guitar players, like best modern guitar players like I've ever heard.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Great answers there. Listen, guys, it's been an absolute blast again. I'm already looking forward to the next time we chat.
Yeah, thank
absolutely.
you so much.
Thank
Yeah, and again, we appreciate it. So anytime, we'll catch you back up.
Just for once I could see love's eyes stare right back at me. We often act like we don't care. We live and die with every breath, every stare.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. And if you're interested in signing up the Band Builder Academy, use the link in the show notes below and enter the code CONCERTS and you'll receive 10% off. So, until next time, keep rocking. Hey, what are you guys still doing here? The show's over. It's over. You can go home. Go on. We'll see you next time. We'll be here.